Hello, Red Wave. The baby's sleeping. It's late, so we have to be a little bit careful on the intro today. Welcome to the Bulldogs podcast. My name is Caleb Nail. Joining me, host Caleb Pletz, good friend, the best Fresno State man to talk with. I'm butchering this. The best guy to talk Fresno State sports about with. That's Caleb Pletz.
Well, thank you.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. It is a late night. We are coming off a rare road trip for Beware Bulldogs, so we are still kind of getting our legs back under us, which hopefully the football team does a little bit better job than us this week, getting back into shape playing at home. But yes, another week here. I mean, we're what, a quarter of the way through the regular season already. I mean, the Dogs are 3-0 here, and the season's just rolling on.
Can you believe we're approaching week 4?
No, it's crazy. I mean, we just have to keep savoring football while we have it, because before we know it, it'll be January, and we'll be yearning for September. So, but we have more football and another home game for Fresno State this week with Kent State coming to town. So a new opponent for the Bulldogs.
First time the Bulldogs have ever played Kent State will be this Saturday in former Bulldog Stadium. I do want to say give some advice to anyone that hasn't traveled to an away game before. If you're going out of state, maybe other than Nevada, don't drive. If you have to be at work the next week, it ruins you. Oh my gosh, dude. I've been absolutely exhausted. I need a valet next time. Or chauffeur. Is that what you call them? Drive me all the way there. I wouldn't mind a valet either when I pull up to wherever I'm staying. So fly in. I don't know. Okay, what do you think? I mean, you're unbelievable. You were in Pennsylvania, and then
I had both this weekend. I mean, I flew in to the game from Pennsylvania, coming from a friend's wedding. So, thankfully the wedding was on Friday, so I guess that's the redemption for a fall wedding. It was on Friday, so I was still able to make the Saturday football game. So, but flew in, but then drove home. So I kind of got both of them, and yeah, driving was brutal, but we made it work, and yeah, we made it back to work on Monday. So that's just what you got to do,
man. Yep. All right, today we have what's going to make us sweat. What's going to make us dance? Our keys to the game. We have weather, spread, where you can watch the game, and then we're going to have final score predictions. We have not done our get to know yet, Caleb. Mm-hmm. So it's limited on what we know, but right now we're going to tell you guys what exactly we know about Kent State. Looking at the Kent State schedule, they are currently 1-2. Their first 2 games got annihilated. First by UCF, 56-6. And then against Arkansas, 28-6. And last week they beat Central Connecticut State University 38-10. It's one of those schools that you joke about, Central Connecticut State University. We did watch the highlights. I know you and I both did, Kid. We were talking about it earlier. Their quarterback has an arm. Alamo, I believe, is his name. He's a transfer from Purdue. So we already had the starting Purdue quarterback, his number. So we have the transfer out of Purdue at Kent State, Alamo. Their running back, Garcia, he can move. And then their wide receiver to look out for was Trell Harris, I believe. Mm-hmm. Trell he's a bigger guy, good hands. He's their main target. So that's Alamo is quarterback. Garcia is their running back. And then Trell Harris is their number 1 wide receiver. So keep an eye out on those guys. What we know about the defense is that they give up a lot of points. That's if there's a game that Fresno State can put together on the offensive side of the ball, this is it. I have been saying that, though, for the past 2 weeks. So hopefully this is the one. Anything else, Caleb, that you know about Kent State that you want to share real quick?
Yeah, kind of another similar storyline here with these Kent State Golden Flashes. They have a first-year head coach, so this is 3 of the first 4 games for Fresno State, taking on a brand new head coach. So in those situations, you have to overwhelmingly favor Jeff Tedford. I mean, just in terms of experience and just game management, clock management, you have to favor the experienced head coach there. So going in, Dogs have the upper hand. Other than that, this is the first meeting for Fresno State and Kent State. Like we mentioned, the last time Fresno State has taken on a MAC opponent was in 2018 against Toledo. And the Dogs handled the Rockets at home. I think they beat them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. So, not a ton of overlap usually with the Mount West and the MAC, but it is kind of nice to get another G5 conference in for a home matchup. So it is going to be kind of fun and got a little bit of player overlap too. Obviously Fresno State starting safety Dean Clark is transferred from Kent State, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of carryover in terms of scheme or intel that Dean might have on Kent State, but it's got to help. And then also starting wide receiver transfer Jalen Gill. He's a native of Ohio, and so that's usually Fresno State doesn't have guys from Ohio on the roster, so a little bit unique this year to have those 2 guys with a team from Ohio, Kent State, come to town.
Mm-hmm. And Kent State does have a transfer from Fresno State on their team.
That's right.
Isaiah Batten, wide receiver. I believe he was mentioned in Cam Laminuzzi pod when he was on. He did some things with FCA and things like that. So a good kid, and now he's getting a shot at Kent State. That's Isaiah Batten. All right. I think that's all we're going to get for now about Kent State until Friday when we sit down with our get to know guest. So stay tuned because that will come out as soon as we get that done on Friday, because we want to give you as much time as possible to listen to it. So before we get to our segments of sweating and dancing, I want to remind you to subscribe, like the video on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, if you're on iTunes or Spotify, might as well give us 5 stars. You're here. I butchered the beginning of it. That's my bad. But if you would like to leave a review and 5 stars, would be much appreciated. And shoot, we'll read it. I'll check them and we'll read it on here. And you can follow us on Twitter at beware__ Bulldogs, and Instagram Beware Bulldogs Podcast, and on YouTube Beware Bulldogs. As thanks for all your support, and we really appreciate it. All right, now let's move into Gonna Make You Sweat. And right before we get to Gonna Make You Sweat is a supporter of the show, and they help me not sweat. It's not deodorant, but when I get nervous, I pray, and that correlates to the Vine Church in Fresno, where I attend. That's on Shaw, just west of Grantland. Join us Sundays, 10 a.m. at the Vine Church on Shaw, just west of Grantland. Great community, biblical truth. And if you're searching for community or strengthening community or a support group, the Vine Church is where it's at. That's on Shaw, west of Grantland, Sundays, 10 a.m. All you need is yourself. I'll see you there. I'll be there this Sunday. I was told I'm doing announcements. Hopefully it's not as cringe as this episode has been. All right. Let's move into what's going to make you sweat.
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
All right, Caleb, there's not too much, honestly, that's going to make me sweat this game. I'm just going to admit that. I believe I looked at it today, 27.5-point favorites. I watched Kent State play. There's no reason that I should sweat this game. But I know you can't overlook any team. The second you do that, you end up going into double overtime with an Eastern Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not overlooking, but as a fan of Fresno State Bulldogs and a fan of college football, I don't think I'm going to sweat that much. I will tell you what will make me sweat, but I'm going to let you go first.
All right. So I think that I picked up on a little bit watching some of the game film of Kent State. So their game against Arkansas, when they were able to pressure the Arkansas quarterback, they disrupted them. And there was constant pressure up the middle. Like they were blitzing their linebackers up the middle, similar to what Fresno State saw against Arizona State last week. So I would think that that might be something that the Golden Flashes are going to try this week, just seeing how successful the Sun Devils were last week. So I'm going to sweat if Kent State is bringing consistent pressure up the middle and Fresno State can't solve it, and the running backs are missing blocks, and there's miscommunication and just causing some trouble. So that's going to make me sweat if there's just constant pressure and Fresno State offense can't figure it out.
Yeah, pass pro is going to be key this game. Mm-hmm. I would love to see our O-line and our running backs improve this game in pass protection. Otherwise, I think there might be questions. There may start to be questions being asked about offensive line coach, offensive line. Maybe the offensive line coach tries different things out, different players, just to see if we can get something going, because I think we need that. That is probably the main thing that will make me sweat, Caleb, because we saw Keen on his back a lot against Arizona State, and he was slow to get up after a couple of those hits. And it's the last thing I want to see is one of our quarterbacks get injured. I'm confident in Logan Fife, but the last thing I want to see is our starting quarterback go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and talking about the O-line, there was a bit of a change at the left guard position. I think for most of the last game, Osmar Velez was in there, and I think he played the majority of the game. And I think in coach's press conference, Coach McCann mentioned that it seems like Osmar has kind of put himself in that role, jumping over Tyron Sampson at that left guard position. So, we'll see if that, makes any difference, going week to week. But yeah, not a ton other than that changing on the offensive line. They've been pretty set with the personnel on the field, which has been kind of surprising. I think, both of us were looking at the two transfer tackles coming into the season to hopefully be making a difference. But Braylon Nelson and Jacob Spomer are, the tackle's still out there. So obviously, the two new guys weren't able to put or show enough to warrant them getting on the field.
Well, and I had this thought the other day is I was watching the game film on Fresno State, and I was keying in on the offensive line, and it looked as though those missed blocks was all communication, right? They're not picking up the blitzes because they weren't communicating with each other. And so then I thought, okay, maybe this is new terminology with McCann, new offensive line coach. Are they still learning what's going on? We have new guys, new transfers that come in that are supposed to be pretty good. There's expectations there. Well, they're not starting. Maybe there's a learning curve to the playbook at the offensive line position? I don't know. It was just a thought process of mine. That maybe those new guys are a little bit behind on the playbook. But who knows? That thought process started because it seemed as though there was a lot of miscommunication going on, which that is fixable and coachable. So I'm okay with that. Moving on to the other thing that's going to make me sweat is turnovers. If we do not take care of and that's every game. If we do not take care of the ball, we're going to be in trouble. But the reason I worry about it is because Mikey tends to force balls into tight places into double, triple coverage sometimes, especially when he's rolling out and under pressure. If we can limit those, we'll be just fine. But the second that Mikey gets under pressure, starts rolling out and forcing balls into double coverage, I'm going to start sweating a little bit. And if we have if we throw 2 interceptions, we're not going to be in the best spot. And the question that I wrote down, Caleb, about Fresno State was, can Fresno State put a solid game together against a lesser opponent? Because we didn't know what Purdue was going to be like week 1. It's always a surprise week 1, what you're going to get from either team. But then you have Eastern Washington, Arizona State, I would say lesser opponents. We didn't put complete games together. Can we put a complete game together? And not only a complete game, but a solid game where our drives are not stalling out in the red zone and we're settling for 52-yard field goals, no turnovers, things like that. I guess we could touch on that when we get to Everybody Dance Now and keys to the game, but I just wanted to propose that question to you. Do you think that this game, Fresno State, we could put a solid game together against a lesser opponent? Because I don't think it's happened yet.
Right. I think I'm most confident in our defense kind of building on their momentum from last game. Because obviously it was a historic game with 8 takeaways. That probably isn't going to happen for the rest of the season. But I think I'm most concerned with the offense just being able to convert drives into touchdowns, because that's been a struggle this year. The ball has moved okay between 25 to 25, but once the Dogs are getting towards the red zone, it's been tough to convert those into touchdowns. So I think that's really going to be what holds them back from putting together a complete game like you're asking for against this lesser opponent.
Yeah. It should be interesting. I'm hoping that there is a feeling around Fresno State football that we did the best we could in that game, rather than, hey, we got the win, but we were projected to win. We should win this game, and we didn't play that well, for 3 quarters and pulled out the win, or we kicked 5 field goals, 7 field goals, went 5 for 7. So hoping for a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up a baby. Bummer. All right. Well, if you want to sleep well, maybe I should give my baby a little bit of Givoli wine. Just kidding. I don't do that, but I sleep well when I drink Givoli wine. Another sponsor of the show, Givoli Winery, local winery located on Biola Avenue, just north of Shaw Avenue. Just take Shaw, go west, make a right on Biola. Local winery, local wines, local grapes. Big supporter of Fresno State and the whole athletic program. And they also have a brick oven, and that is wood fire brick oven, not gas, wood fire. And I know that this Saturday they are having a trivia night, and I had to get on them. And because there's game night, and I can't make it. I'm sorry, I can't make trivia night. I got to be at the game. But they do have events like that. And if you are looking to throw a private event, you can hit them up by emailing them at givoliwinery@gmail.com. They are open, I should say, Saturdays and Sundays, noon to 5, and on weekdays by appointment only. So let them know that you're coming. If you can't go because Fresno State game's on Saturday and you're busy at church on Sunday, let them know you're going to be there on a Tuesday by emailing them or giving them a call. So thank you to Givoli Winery. All righty.
Everybody dance now.
Everybody dance now. Caleb, what? That can't really make you dance as well as the CNC Music Factory. Hopefully the CNC Fresno State Football Factory is getting you ready for the game day. Caleb, what's going to make you dance this Saturday when the Dogs play Kent State?
All right. So last week against Arizona State, Fresno State attempted 7 field goals. So I will dance this week if Fresno State scores 7 touchdowns. Just flip that around. Every opportunity is converted into a touchdown. If we're saying, they're getting, a similar amount of red zone opportunities or scoring opportunities. So if the Dogs score 7 touchdowns, then I will dance.
I like that. I really like that. Everyone knows my everybody dance now. If you've been keeping up this year, we're waiting on a kickoff return for a touchdown, and it will always be that until it happens. I also added last game, Caleb, and thankfully I have this kickoff return deal in there because I said 4+ turnovers and under 10 points.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to you in Arizona, jaw to the floor, like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. I think we had 5 turnovers and 5 straight possessions. Unbelievable. And they had 0. Obviously, we shut them out. But at the time, they had 0 points. There's no way they're getting to 10. Look, I did want our team to take a kickoff return all the way. But I got to be honest, I was starting to sweat a little bit. I was going to have to show off some moves. But that's why this clause is in there about kickoff return for a touchdown.
Right.
I think I'm going to just do that one. I'm not going to add anything else because we should do well. I like your 7 touchdowns. We need that. I don't even know if we're going to get the ball 7 times. Hopefully we're scoring like crazy and our defense is locking them down. But the 8 turnovers was nuts last week. But I think there is an opportunity here when it comes to special teams and when you play a lesser opponent to dominate on all sides of the ball and be special on special teams. If we could do that, take a kickoff return all the way and just take the air out of their sails right away. Let's win the coin toss, receive it, and just take it all the way. Go for it. I know it's a cop-out, but that's what I've been sticking with all season. It's been since 2008, guys. I was young. Not younger. So kick off all the way for a touchdown, and I'm dancing. So if Jalen Gill or Eric Brooks or Mac hear that, take it all the way, please, all the way.
Plus, then the offense doesn't even have to worry about trying to convert the drive into a touchdown.
There you go.
Special teams just takes care of it for him.
All right, let's get to our keys to the game. And speaking of keys to my game, a key to my game is flowers. I win every time I bring flowers. And Flora Flower Co. will hook you up with flowers on whenever you want them. Add it to your game. It's a local flower shop, modern and unique, who supports local growers. Not only do they have flowers, but they have gifts for your special someone. They are located on Shepherd and Willow, and they're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. You can also order online if you can't drive out to the other side of the world like me. Every once in a while I do, but you can order online for pickup, or you can come in person. A florist is there in the shop waiting for you to help you create something special. Use code Fresno15. Fresno, the number 15 for 15% off your purchase. And they have subscriptions you can sign up for. And if you sign up for subscriptions, you get free delivery. So there you go. Flora Flower Co. Shepherd and Willow, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, or online. Use code Fresno15 for 15% off to let them know that Boyer Bulldog sent you. All right, Caleb. Key to the game for Saturday.
I think first key of the game has to be Malik Sherrod. So I think I'm singling him out just because what we briefly saw from him against Arizona State really seemed like he has a different level of quickness and just a little bit stronger ability to make a difference, at the running back position for Fresno State. Elijah Gilliam has been doing a really good job kind of filling in and kind of being a power back for Fresno State, but it seemed like we're missing a little bit of the quickness and kind of having, the tandem pair of running backs with different skill set. So I think getting Sherrod back and having him be fully effective is going to be really important, just to kind of take some pressure off Mikey in the offense. Just being able to have a running game that is actually able to move the ball, because the running game's kind of been struggling. I mean, if you think back to the Eastern Washington game, I mean, that was mostly throwing the ball. The running game really wasn't able to do much. So I think getting Malik back and having him make an impact is going to be a big key.
Yeah, I agree. Our short passing game is our strength, and well, I would say our passing game is our strength. If they play off us and give us cushion, we're going to burn them, and they're not fast enough to guard all of our guys with the speed we have. If they press us, I mean, if we can get off the press, so I think that is our strength. But I totally agree. We need, like every week I say, we need to establish our dominance on the ground. And Malik Sherrod is going to help. We saw the burst against Arizona State. My key to the game is going to be in the trenches. And I want our defensive line to absolutely dominate. I watched the highlights against Central Connecticut State, whatever, Tech, whatever. They Central Connecticut was able to get pressure on their quarterback. And that's an FCS school.
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to create pressure, I believe, with 4 down linemen. And if we can do that, that's going to change the game completely. That takes a lot of pressure off of our DBs. And we can leave Lavelle back there, and whoever's in linebacker at the spot. I know we've seen a couple different guys come in and out. But that takes a lot of pressure off our defense when we can get pressure with 3-4 down linemen. And I think we can do that. And if we can do that, who knows? Maybe we'll see another 8 turnovers. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Totally.
So that's my key to the game on the defensive side of the ball.
Love it. Yeah, I think for me on defense, I couldn't really figure out like a specific key, but just something I'm curious to watch and see is, is the defense, are they, like defensive backs in particular, are they trying to be too aggressive and like maybe trying to jump a route that they get get bid on a double move or something like that, trying to keep the interceptions coming. So are they able to just stick to the defensive game plan, don't get too aggressive, and just be in the right spot where they're supposed to be, and then the takeaways will happen. So just kind of curious to see if there's any of that overly aggressive nature there. I don't think that's going to be there, but I mean, coming off such a historic performance with 8 takeaways, it's got to be a little bit on their minds.
I agree. I'll take it though. If they get the picks, go for it. Offense for me, I would like to see Mikey Keene with time in the pocket. Kent State did not create, when they weren't blitzing, they were not creating any pressure in the film I watched. So that is big for Mikey Keene to be able to learn how his wide receivers get open, how he can go through his progressions, what that looks like, how that feels in the game rather than just in practice, because it's completely different. And so I would like to see him have a chance to do that. So that means that I need the O-line to block. And if that happens, it's a confidence booster for Keene. He's learning in game. Our wide receivers are learning how Keene reacts and things like that, and where they need to break when he rolls out and things like that. So I would love to see the offensive line give him plenty of time to where Keene gets better, learns, is able to see the field. And, then we can move into when we have Nevada the week after. And I know I'm looking ahead, but, building that confidence for the upcoming weeks, that's what I want to see out of Mikey Keene. And that's going to start up front with the offensive line. So it'll always be in the trenches. That's what I'm a firm believer that the biggest difference in football is up front on both sides of the ball. So most of the time when we talk about keys to the game, that's where it's going to be. Mm-hmm. But because Mikey Keene has been hit so many times and struggled to. I shouldn't say he has struggled. I mean, he struggled accurately, but he doesn't have much time. So I want to see time, and let's go. Let's get better this game.
Yep.
All right, Caleb, you are in charge of weather, TV, and spread.
That's right.
But before you do that, I know you have another company, another sponsor to get out there.
Yeah, that's Manage X Property Management, the local full-service property management company, big supporters of Fresno State athletics, and they can help property owners here in Fresno or Clovis if they're in need of that service. So, properties they service is single-family homes, apartments, office, industrial properties as well. So, they've been in the valley since 1978, and definitely be happy to help you out if you're in need of that service. So check them out on their website, managex.net, and you can get connected.
Yeah, I'm not wealthy enough to own any property, but the people I know that own property and know Manage X, they say they are legit and they love Manage X. So if you have property, check out Manage X. Manage the letter X.com. All right, yeah. What's a I'm sorry. .net.
.net.
.net. Of course, it's got to be different.
That's right.
What should I wear on Saturday? I know a cowboy hat, but weather-wise, how are we looking?
That's right. Yeah, it is like some sort of boot cowboy theme. I think we talked about your culture being appropriated last episode. So definitely dirty up your boots before you go to the game. But it should be a beautiful night for some football. The high in the day is 86, and but by the time it gets to kickoff, the sun should be setting. I mean, Fall is here. I'm sure you've noticed on the farm. I mean, the sun is setting earlier. You got less time to be outside in the sunshine. So should be probably in the high 70s by the time it gets to kickoff. So it should be a beautiful evening for some football. Clear skies. So no concerns there in terms of the weather. And back to late kickoffs. So 7:30 kickoff, and we are on national TV. Got CBS Sportsnet is the TV broadcast, and of course our friends at Bulldog Sports Network, Paul, Pat, and Cam will be on the call on the radio side too.
I don't know if you saw the sunset on the game against Eastern Washington. It was beautiful. Now it wasn't an earlier start, but man, when you see those nice sunsets, it's fall, it's harvest is almost over. Then I can just focus on football season. We can attack this thing, and I won't be all over the board on these recordings. So I'm pumped, and it's nice to hear that we won't be burning inside a former Bulldog stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, when it comes to the spread on this, how are you playing this?
This is interesting. I mean, right now Fresno State's favored by 27.5. The point total over under only 49. So that's still a pretty low total. So I think that there's some respect for the Fresno State defense, and maybe a lack of respect for the Kent State offense, who against two legitimate opponents. Central Connecticut State. They only put up 6 points against UCF and against Arkansas. So. The smart people are thinking it's Kent's not going to be able to put up a lot, and Fresno State should be able to put up a handful of touchdowns over them. So yeah, I think 4 touchdowns is a big number. Especially given Fresno State's performance so far in the first 3 games. Granted, they won their last game 29-0. So when your defense pitches a shutout, it makes it a lot easier to cover a big number, but. For me, I think my total is going to be over. So I do think there's going to be more points here. I don't think Fresno State is able to secure another shutout. I think Kent's going to be a little bit more proficient on offense, and they're coming into this much less injured than Arizona State is. So I think they do have a little bit of a benefit there. So I mean, I'm putting my prediction at Fresno State victory 38-13. So that's a 25-point victory for the Dogs. So I do have Kent covering barely, but yeah, going over a little bit. But yeah, 38-13. 38-13 Dogs over the Golden Flashes.
I had 31-10.
Okay.
So what'd you say the over was? 40? What?
49.
49. Okay, so I'm not there. The unders have been hitting this year, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
been what? I just don't know if. So the 27.5 is so tough. That is a tough number, especially because we scored 29 points with 8 turnovers. We're +8.
Mm-hmm.
So so if our offense figures it out, yeah, sure, go for it. If you believe that's going to happen, but I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to stay away from taking the Dogs at -27.5. By the way, don't take anything of what we say into consideration when you do this stuff, because we are usually wrong.
That's right. Yeah.
So
And
we're not.
especially with how proficient our kicker has been this year. I mean, we've just until Fresno State's able to convert drives into touchdowns, then maybe consider a big number.
Yeah. So I'm saying 31-10, and I'm not taking that 27.5, and I'm
Yeah.
taking the under.
There you go. So I do have a question for you. I mean, what are your expectations for the crowd? Because I think a day or two ago I saw Fresno B reporting that expectations kind of around mid 30,000 people, so 35,000 people for capacity 41. So what type of turnout are you expecting? I mean, the Dogs are coming off 2 Power 5 victories, and there should be a lot of momentum building.
Yeah, you would think, being out in the community, and all you guys are as well, it doesn't seem as though the hype is there for this game like it was against Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington was the first home game, but when you think about it, or we can talk as college football fans, and if you're listening to this, you're a college football fan. Eastern Washington is not the same caliber as Kent State. That it's not. They're not a Division I FBS program. Kent State is. So I'm a little surprised by that. And there will be less people in the seats. We always see that because there's companies that have tickets and things like that, and some people don't show up, and so the reports of ticket sales doesn't always equal the amount of people that are there. So I'm hoping that 30 some thousand all show up,
Mm-hmm.
so we can get loud. And the Dogs deserve this. They're 3-0. There should be a lot of hype behind them in Fresno. So I would be shocked to see less than 35,000 there. Let's see,
Mm-hmm.
actually there. We'll see it and feel it, and they'll report a number, but it'll be interesting to see how many people actually show up. Oh, what are your thoughts on all that? Same question back to you.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like momentum has kind of tapered off a little bit, at least, just kind of overall, feeling around town, which is kind of weird. But I think that if, the Dogs can win this game convincingly, they have a serious chance at, breaking into the top 25, obviously 4-0 team. And if they get some help with some ranked losses, then I think they have a chance at maybe breaking that top 25. So I think that if that happens, that'll help build the momentum heading into Mountain West play, and from there maybe we're getting closer to sellouts for the next game against Nevada. But yeah, I think fall weather is here. We got the fall weddings coming in, so you never know what other people have planned on their Saturday evenings.
I did find out today that there is a wedding I am attending during football season.
Oh,
It's
no.
not a home game though, thank goodness.
All right.
It's a San Jose game, but we'll be okay.
Okay.
I would like to see the updated stadium, but at the same time, I've been there once. You've been there once. You've seen it enough. So, anyways, yeah, it's very odd. Word around town, or the lack of words around town about the Fresno State football team and the hype behind it right now. I very curious. I'm gonna start asking people what their thoughts are, because I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We're doing our best to get the word out there, and thank you guys for tuning in. Tell somebody. That's the goal today. Tell someone about Beware Bulldogs podcast. Have them tune in. If they're a Fresno State football fan, by the way, we're going to do basketball and baseball. There's no excuse. They need to be here at Beware Bulldogs. Dogs should dominate this game. I would be surprised if they didn't, and I really don't want that. And Caleb, that might be a reason why there's not a bunch of hype, because the games they're supposed to dominate in, they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. But your casual fans love winning. So that's why I'm shocked. Dogs are 3-0. That's all you have to say. They show up.
Right.
I did want to say, you mentioned the top 25 teams. This Saturday or this week is the most top 25 matchups since 2015. There's 6 of them. So there will be 3 losers, right? No.
Should
Yeah.
be
6. There'll be 6 losers.
Yeah, six losers.
Oh man.
We've already confirmed we're not a math podcast.
Yeah, no. There'll be 6 top 25 teams that lose, and 3 of them are going to be in the Pac-12. There's 3 matchups between Pac-12 teams. It's unbelievable. So I think there's a good shot for us to be ranked if we take care of business this weekend.
Yep.
All right. Caleb, this was a rough one for me. Thanks for putting up with me.
No problem. It was a good one. And hey, reminder to Red Wave to wear red on Saturday to former Bulldog Stadium. So we're back to our normal routines here of being the Red Wave.
Mm-hmm. I hope we wear all red. There hasn't been a release yet. I'm sure we'll come later this week of our jerseys. We better wear all red. We haven't worn one piece of red clothing yet this football season. That might be why there's a lack of hype. No, I don't know. Also, cowboy hats, buckles, belt buckles, and sunglasses are no, the sunglasses that's a Dion thing.
Yeah.
Highly recommended is cowboy hats, boots, and buckles. I think it's called boots and buckles.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, we'll get out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy. God bless you guys. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.